Amazon Simple Storage Service, the security configuration is not simple. And again, there are good reasons for this. This is not me blaming Amazon. I'm a huge fan. I used to work at AWS. This is because S3 is really powerful and it has evolved over time. It was one of the earliest services in AWS. It came out, I believe, before IAM came out. And so it has lots of security models that overlay. So these numerous levels of access controls, and they work together and they can have unexpected results when you layer them. But just talking through, and I'm going to go through the console on all of these with you, well, nearly all of them. So ACLs, access control lists, are blocks of IP addresses and actors and levels of access. You can have ACLs on buckets, a number of these. You can have these applied both to the bucket and to the objects in the bucket, and that becomes an attack vector if you don't have the right ACLs on the objects, for example, but just the bucket, and I will show that. That can be dangerous. That is one of the most common ways to have a false sense of security. You say, well, my ACLs on my buckets don't flash public at me, therefore they're not public. Not necessarily true. Next, bucket policies. These are policies you put on the bucket itself to configure access to that bucket. These are really important, even when combined with other IAM roles and policies, which are next. So you can kind of have an S3 bucket that is not open via ACL to the world, and relies upon your IAM roles and policies you use in your account, and that can produce some unexpected and dangerous results. So I'm going to show you how to truly lock down S3 buckets to the narrowest set of known good actors that you can through a combination of bucket policies and IAM roles and policies. There are also service control policies. We're not going to get into that today. That has to do with AWS organizations and your ability to use kind of best practices across different groups of users in your organization in terms of what they're allowed to do. We'll be touching on that in a future webinar on insider threats and how to try to manage those. But public access blocks are an awesome newish feature. They came out around a year ago, I think November of 18, could be wrong. I think that's when they came out. These are there to allow you to kind of really assert that things aren't public. And it's a great feature. We'll talk about it. You may or may not be able to use it everywhere, but where you can, you should. So we're going to go through all these layers of access controls, how they interact, and we're going to do that through a demonstration. I'm going to talk about two kinds of exploits. I'm going to show you two kinds of exploits. The first one's pretty simple, a little nuanced, and that'll be through public access ACLs. And the second one through IAM exploits, which are, I think, even more common. So if you think I have no public buckets, I'm safe, you're really not.